Right, hello. We're going to look at some further and deeper transposition of formulas. With transposition, what does it mean? Well, change the subject of the formula, isolate part of the formula, put into quarantine one of the numbers. Find the value. Well, we're going to find the value of this g here. So I've put it up there just to remind me what we're trying to do. What we need to do is to find out what is cluttering up g. Now, see, there's lots of things around this g. There's a fraction there, and there's an addition here, and there's a square root there, and the whole thing's multiplied by 2 pi. Plus, the source of t's got to come away and come over the other side so we can get g to be the subject of the equation. Now, I think the first thing we need to do here is we can't do anything with, say, the h, or the h squared, because it is itself square rooted. What else can we look at? Well, I think we could probably, let's divide by 2 pi. So I put here, divide by 2. But now, whatever we do, we must do to both sides to maintain the equality or the balance of the equation. Anyway, so we're going to do this. What we'll do is we'll put down t divided by 2 pi. And of course, you'll understand that if you divide this by 2 pi, this 2 pi disappears. They cancel each other. So we can put equals the square root of h squared plus g squared over h. Now, what else is cluttering up this? I think, well, what's cluttering up now? You can often work from the outside inwards. I find quite a good way to do it. So what we could do is to get rid of this radical here, which is the square root sign. If we square both sides, that will disappear. So let's do that. So square both sides. Square both sides. Now this becomes t over t 2 pi. I'm going to put that in brackets, squared. You could have t squared over 2 pi squared if you want. I don't mind. And this becomes h squared plus g squared over h. I've taken out the square root because I've squared it. Squared square root ends up being the value that was being square rooted. And now we've got a situation. What can we do here? I think probably, now we're trying to get to this g here. Now, we can't do anything with this because it's part of a fraction, and it's actually the numerator of a fraction, and we don't know the values of g and h. So if we, let's multiply both sides by h. So I'll put there times h. So now we've got a situation whereby we have, open the brackets, t over 2 pi, close brackets, squared h. Just means it's multiplied by that, and then this becomes equal to h squared plus g squared. Now we're coming close. There's the g squared we're looking for. Here's the g we're looking for in the end, sorry. And now we're coming down to, we've got this down to h squared plus g squared. Now what we could do here is, how do I get this g squared on its own? Well, if I take, this is plus g squared, so that's okay, and this is also plus h squared. So if I subtract both sides with h squared, we then end up with, let me put it down here, 2 over 2 pi squared h, which was what was there, minus h squared equals g squared. We've subtracted this h squared from here, so that just leaves g squared on its own. So there, now we're getting much, much closer to this g that we're trying to look for. Now, what can I do to a value that is squared to get the g on its own? I don't want g squared, I want g. So if I find the square root of, yes, if I have the square root both sides, I end up with what looks rather complex, I admit. Here's the square root sign. And it's, sorry, that should be squared, I beg your pardon, I missed that out. We've got t over 2 pi itself squared times h minus h squared equals g. Now, it's normal for the subject of an equation or a formula to be on the left-hand side. So I'll put here g equals the square root of t over 2 pi squared times h minus h squared. And that is the answer. Now, you might have thought initially that this looked like quite a complex equation to transpose, but all we've done is divide by 2 pi, square both sides, multiply by h, subtract h squared, and then square root both sides, and then make g the subject by bringing it over here. I hope that's clear. Please click on like, and if you want to make any comments or ask any questions, then please put it in the comments box. Thank you.